Great day, great day. Welcome, 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 welcome. As you are arriving, please like and share. And thank you so much for joining. Welcome, welcome. We are excited about our Mindset Matters webinar today. And we are excited to have you all join us. So, again, like and share as you are arriving, tag someone and invite them to join you as you listen in also. And we are excited to be again broadcasting now live on Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. So, thank you to my technology folks for making that happen for me, and for this to really continue to be a great opportunity for us all to grow. So, welcome. And in the spirit of getting started on time, I'm going to go ahead and kick us off here. Again, I'll do a formalized welcome to everyone for another edition of Mindset Matters Weekly Webinar. I am Nick Dillon, the Belief Coach, and again, grateful, so grateful that you have chosen to spend some time to invest in yourself and to connect with me this evening on this particular call and this particular webinar. So tonight, we are talking about a mindset that affects nearly everyone at some point in their life. And it is the mindset of overthinking. Yes, we're going to take the deep dive into this. And just the mere fact of the title may resonate with several of you who are listening in. And I will tell you right out gate, it resonates with me. I have been down that overthinking rabbit hole, and we're going to talk about that tonight. Because overthinking really isn't a sign that you're unintelligent. So it's not that. And it isn't a sign that you care too much. So it's not that either. It often means that your mind is working overtime trying to protect you from uncertainty, from failure, disappointment, or rejection. Okay, so take that in and just realize what I just said. Okay, it's a sign. Okay, and what it means is that, again, your mind is working overtime. So that overthinking is working overtime. You're deep in your head, and oftentimes you don't need to be. So it's working overtime to protect you from uncertainty, failure, disappointment, and or rejection. Okay, so all of that, even as I said it, resonated with me. Okay, and so and it may have resonated with you also. So I really just want to level set. I want to normalize that, yes, overthinking sometimes is a common thing that we all do, but I want you all to create a level of awareness as we talk about it tonight so that we can think and shift our mindset to do things differently, okay? Because the challenge is this: a mindset that never stops analyzing eventually stops taking action. Got that? Again, a mindset that never stops analyzing eventually stops taking action. And overthinking doesn't just steal your peace, folks. It steals your confidence. It steals your opportunities, and eventually it will steal your future. Okay? I am speaking firsthand of how it can really impact not only your present day-to-day stuff, but things, hopes, dreams, opportunities, ideas that you may very well have for yourself, for your relationship, whatever that looks like. That overthinking takes us down this rabbit hole. And for some of us, we've been down that rabbit hole for days, week, months, even years. Okay. And so my goal today, again, is to really pull us out, take a step back, and look a little bit more at that 50,000-foot view so that we can really see where we can get a handle on where overthinking might be impacting our lives. So tonight, we're going to learn how to recognize it, understand it, and most importantly, overcome overthinking. Okay. And so I want to really engage the chat right away. And really, so those of you who are listening in, and this is probably an opportunity that you may want to get some pencil and paper and maybe a notebook so that we can talk, so that you can take some notes about what we will talk about and really kind of apply them even beyond tonight's conversation. But the first question that I would like to really get your reaction from is, have you ever talked yourself out of an opportunity because you thought about it way too much? Okay. Have you ever talked yourself out of an opportunity because you thought about it way too much? I'm raising my hand as you all type in the chat yes or no. And if you have a little phrase about what it was, that's great. If you want to be courageous enough to share. Otherwise, the yes or no, again, is welcome. Okay. And just as you see the different yeses that might be in the chat and even the no's that might be in the chat, you see that there's a diverse response to this, or maybe a consistent response to this from both myself and others, where, yes, I've been in my head sometimes way too much. And as a result of that overthinking, I talked myself out of an opportunity. And I will go a step further and tell you, and sometimes it has delayed me from taking action. Okay. Or in some cases, I've talked myself so far out of the opportunity that I completely self-select out, or I've never tried it again, just because I got in my head way too much. And that may be, and it may very well resonate with you. Okay. And so far, yes, I will also tell you that over time, because yes, some time spanned and passed with me, I went back, absence of the overthinking. And in some cases, there were a couple of opportunities that I had the ability to pick back up, get out of my head and out of my own way and move forward. But I can also tell you, yes, there were some opportunities that I never got back to, that I never pursued, that I never, felt that it was worth pursuing at that point because so much time had lapsed. But again, that was still in my head. Okay. So again, that's just me being transparent about this thing. And what I love about this mindset of overthinking is because I'm able to share with you all these tips and these tools based on my own journey and based on what I have seen in working with clients to overcome overthinking. Okay. Because it's a very common theme that I have seen with coaching clients as well as counseling clients. Sometimes we get here way, way, way too much. Okay. And sometimes we got to take that step back and from an awareness standpoint and really inner coach, self-coach ourselves back out of it. Okay. So we'll talk about that and some tools as we continue this module. But first, I want to really start off with, again, going a little deeper in that definition of overthinking and just taking it a step further and really level set where I want to go with this. And so the first segment I want to focus on, it really is, what is overthinking? So let's begin with this particular definition, because overthinking is repeatedly dwelling on thoughts, possibilities, problems, or decisions without moving toward a meaningful action. Okay. Everybody got that? Dwelling on thoughts, possibilities, problems, or decisions without moving forward with meaningful action. Okay? It's thinking beyond what is helpful. Okay? Reflection, yes, produces clarity. Overthinking produces confusion. So when you want to settle in on something just for clarity, great. But when you stay in it and you stay in your head and you stay deep into that thing, which then starts you to self-analyzing and in some cases making assumptions or even taking some things personal, you went down the rabbit hole. Okay? Reflection leads to decisions. Overthinking delays decisions. Okay. And sometimes we stay in that overthinking mode way too long. Okay. Reflection, again, creates learning. And when I say reflection, folks, I mean we're taking a step back and we're asking ourselves questions. Okay. Asking self questions, or if we're in our head over some conversation with someone, ask them for clarity. If they give you clarity, yet you want to continue to overthinking, then that's something you have to work on. If you have the clarity once you do reflection, then get out of your head, okay? Because reflection creates learning, okay? And oftentimes we learn more about us, okay? We learn a whole lot more about us. Overthinking creates fear, okay? And there is a huge difference, okay? That fear, when we're in our heads, really takes us even further away from making a reasonable decision, okay? I just want you to think about that again. You know, when we're looking for clarity and we're willing to go down the road of reflection, not in our head. Sometimes reflection is just a simple pencil and paper exercise of what am I looking for? Why am I looking for this? Why do I want this answer? And sometimes it's reframing some of the questions that you might have in a way that supports moving you to a reasonable resolution or a reasonable answer. Okay. So let's go deeper and go talk about the hidden cost of overthinking. Yes, let's go deeper because many people think that overthinking is harmless and overthinking is just you being cautious. But guess what? It's deeper than that. It's not harmless. Here is what it cost us. And let me just give you some examples. Number one, overthinking creates unnecessary stress. Okay. Again, I'm raising my hand because I've been there, done that. Okay. Your body responds to imagined threats as thoughts. They are real. Okay. Your body responds to imagined threats as thoughts that they believe as though they are real. Okay. Your mind doesn't know. And so you're physiologically responding in a way that may or may not serve you. And when you unpack that thing in reflection, you find that you're just simply in your head. Okay. There's a cost to that, physical. Okay. It also drains your mental energy. Yes. Decision fatigue becomes real. Simple choices suddenly feel overwhelming. Okay. All in the name of I'm in my head. It also definitely lowers your confidence. The more options you consider, the less certain you become. It delays action, the biggest culprit. Opportunities often expire, as I can witness to, while we're waiting for this perfect certainty and this perfect moment to move forward, but we can't get there because we're so caught up in our heads. Okay? And then, yes, it increases anxiety. The mind begins creating problems that don't even exist. And oftentimes, when you are in your head, I will tell you, just from being in my own observation of reflection, most of the time, when you write down what's circling the wagon, it's not even true. And there's no real concrete evidence that you can put out there other than your own challenging and sometimes your own self-defeating beliefs. Okay? We don't oftentimes have the real concrete evidence to support what's there. Okay? So therefore, the mind begins to create it as though it was real, and it doesn't even exist. Okay? So think about that as we continue to unpack this thing. And I want to go into this next segment, and I just talk about the 4 questions that overthinkers constantly ask. Think about this. The 4 questions that overthinkers constantly ask. So as I go through these, ask yourself, is this you, or has this been you? Okay? Because many overthinkers live inside these questions, and I'll put them out there. And we all probably have found ourselves saying this, or at least running across our mindset. The first being, what if I fail? Okay? Simple as that. The second that enters your head, you've already started overthinking. What if I fail? Next one, what if I'm wrong? What if they judge me? What if there's something better coming along? Okay, so notice something interesting in all of these questions. They start with what if. Rarely do we ask, what if it works? What if I actually succeed? What if this changes my life for the better? You see, our mindset determines which possibilities we give attention to. And the what ifs direct us accordingly. Okay? The what ifs are either going to direct us down the rabbit hole or move us into some amazing possibilities. Okay? So think about that. Just think about that for a moment. And if you're courageous enough, of those what ifs I mentioned, which one has been an interesting culprit for you in your life, career, relationship? What has circled the wagon for you here? Maybe you didn't always say it out loud, but it was here. Okay? Throw it in the chat. Again, not to expose anyone, but just to normalize and create the level of awareness around this so that we really, truly see, yes, this can be interesting, this can be big, and this can allow us the visual, the observation, the awareness so that we can take better or different action. Okay? And now I want to shift even deeper and talk through why we overthink. Okay? Why we overthink. Okay? Because overthinking usually isn't about intelligence. It's about emotion. Yes, folks, that inner critic and that emotional rabbit hole. Okay? Here's some common reasons. Okay? The first being fear of failure. Yep. If I never decide, I never fail. Okay? So I stay in the rabbit hole of overthinking. The next being fear of rejection. If I never speak, I can't be criticized. Then there's this one. Yes, I'm guilty of it. Perfectionism. If I only, at least if I act once, everything is perfect, then I'll be okay. Okay. And I'll only do it when everything is perfect. And the problem, perfection never arrives. Okay. So we pause, we're delayed. I got to wait until that moment, till I got everything aligned up. I got everything. And I'm saying, but I got this, but I got this, I got this, I got this. In fact, even as I speak this right now, there's something that I'm working on, and I'm sitting here waiting for, I believe, something to appear perfect before I do this submittal of something. And it's very interesting that just resonated with me right now. Okay. Past pain, folks. Past pain is another one. When you've been hurt before, your brain tries to prevent future pain before analyzing every possible outcome. Think about that. Okay? And again, the need for control. Overthinking often comes from believing that we can eliminate uncertainty. The truth is, growth always requires uncertainty. So at some point, folks, we're going to have to lean into it. Okay? A leadership perspective. Okay? I want you to consider this. Great leaders, they don't always make perfect decisions. They make timely decisions. And leadership is not about having every answer. It is about responding with courage despite even incomplete information. Because if you wait until every variable is known, then you spend a lifetime watching others move ahead while you stay stagnant. Okay? Progress is always going to beat perfection. And that's a message that I have to keep reminding myself. Okay? Action creates information. Waiting rarely does. Okay? Waiting rarely does. And what I've done, folks, is I've used my word believe, because, I use that to help us remember. And I've taken this word believe and I've created a model. And it's a connection that I want you to use this word believe to help you remember some things as it relates to overthinking. Okay. So if you write down the word believe or you look at it as an acrostic, the B, I want you to think in terms of behavior. Okay. And overthinking creates hesitation instead of movement. Okay. That's the B. The E, folks, is emotion. And fear begins driving decision instead of purpose. Okay. The L is language. Listen carefully. I don't know. What if? I'm probably not ready. Okay. So listen to that language. Your language reveals your mindset. Okay. Your language reveals your mindset. Some of us need to really write this one down. Okay. Again, the I is identity. Eventually, you begin believing, I'm just an overthinking. I'm just an overthinker. No, overthinking is a habit. It's not your identity. Okay. It's just a behavioral, emotional habit that you got to become aware of and snap out of it. Then the V, vision. You stop focusing on where you're going and you become consumed by everything that could go wrong. Okay. And we got to come out of that mindset. And the last E is expectations. You begin expecting problems again before they happen. And what you expect often shapes how you show up. Okay, folks? Again, mindset. So let's shift into this next section that I want to talk through 3 practical strategies to help you stop overcoming. Okay? 3 strategies that I want you to consider to help you stop overcoming. The first strategy is I want you to set a decision deadline. Give yourself a deadline to make a decision so it in fact forces you out of overthinking. Okay? Some decisions deserve thoughtful consideration, not endless consideration. Ask yourself, what information do I actually need? And once I have it, is that enough? Okay? Make a decision and decide. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, focus on the next step. Don't try to solve the next 5 years. Just the next step. Just solve today. Okay? Action, folks, reduces anxiety. Movement builds momentum. Okay? Number 3, challenge your story. Challenge the tape, folks. Challenge the narrative that you keep telling yourself. Ask yourself, is this fact or is it fear? Okay? Many of the stories we tell ourselves have never happened. We just are speculating, assuming, so on and so forth, making assumptions. Okay? Yet we respond as though they already have. Okay? And consider this, folks. This is what I call the faith perspective. And one of my favorite reminders comes from the scripture, Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Do not be anxious about anything. Okay? Starts off just like that. And notice it didn't say never face uncertainty. It says don't allow anxiety to become your master. Okay? Faith doesn't eliminate uncertainty. Faith teaches us to move through uncertainty with confidence that God is already ahead of us. Okay? And sometimes overthinking is really misplaced trust. We're trusting our fears more than, quite honestly, we're trusting God's promises. Okay? Let that settle in for a moment. I hate to go spiritual on you, but I had to get that out for a moment. Okay? And yes, I want you to just reflect on what we've talked about as it relates to overthinking. And I want you to think about one decision that you've been delaying and simply ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of? What's the worst realistic outcome? Could I recover if that happened? What is the best possible outcome if I act? And what's one action that I can take within the next 24 hours? You see, folks, small decisions and small actions silence big fear. Just moving forward just a little bit quiets the noise. And some key things that I really want you to take away from today is remember these 5 truths. Overthinking is going to create confusion, not clarity. Fear grows when action stops. Remember that. Confidence is built through movement. You don't need to be perfect. Certainty, just be willing to make progress. And your future belongs to those willing to act before they feel completely ready. Challenge yourself to be able to take those steps and consider those takeaway points. And this week, I'm going to challenge each and every one of you to identify one decision that you've been postponing. Give yourself that deadline. Make the decision. Then take one meaningful action within 24 hours of making that decision. Because remember, you don't have to know every step, just the next step. Okay? Simply take a step to move forward. Okay? And so as we wrap up for today, I just want to remind you that, again, overthinking convinces us that more thinking is the answer, and it's really just protecting us. Growth rarely comes from thinking alone. It's going to come from you moving forward, taking that action, which you've heard me say so many times. Your life changes when your beliefs align with courageous decisions. And sometimes I know, folks, we have some self-defeating beliefs and some beliefs that are not serving us, which then kick in sometimes in those moments of overthinking. And so part of this may very well mean that while I could manage my overthinking if I would disrupt some of those beliefs. Okay? Don't allow fear to disguise as preparation to keep you from the life that you were capable of creating. Okay? Again, thank you all for tuning in and joining tonight's Mindset Matters webinar. And thank you for going on this journey with me about overthinking. I myself am committed to making that choice, just as I'm encouraging you all to do and encouraging you to give yourself permission to do, to make the decision based on my choice I'm going to make today, because I really do have all the information that I do need to make at least the next step. Okay? And again, if overthinking is a challenge, as you see scrolling down the screen on the bottom there is the indication that, hey, you can click on the link in the bio from which platform you're joining us from and sign up for a discovery call and let's go deeper. You can also take your phone and click on that QR code in the upper right-hand corner and do the same. Either way, let's connect. Let's go deeper. My goal and purpose for each and every one of these sessions that we do every Monday is really to share and allow you all to be your highest and best self. And share this even after today. Share this with somebody that you believe might need to hear it, might need to know it, dissect it, and start and stop and take some notes as they're listening, and invite them to next Monday, where we're going to, again, go deeper, okay? Because remember, your beliefs shape your mindset. And sometimes we might have to unpack. And your beliefs shape your decisions. And guess what? Those decisions shape your destiny. So keep believing, keep growing, and keep becoming that highest expression of yourself that you can be. Again, this is Nick Dillon, the Believe Coach, and have an amazing rest of your day and an awesome holiday week and amazing weekend. Take care. Talk to you next week.